right. Thank you, everybody, for taking a few minutes to watch this video. I'm here with Shannon Washam. He is, I guess, Director of Ministries for Western Heights for the
Yeah,
Baptist Center. I don't know. I don't know your exact title. Hopefully that works.
that's it.
So, man, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to just to talk about ministry for you guys and what this year has been like and how we can just encourage you guys. How are you doing? Just generally, how are you holding up?
Well, we got approved during the first round of COVID to keep going. We were finally we got approval to be considered essential. So we've taken Good Friday. We had Good Friday off, so we've been going as fast as we can go, and just working to pull together resources for a lot of the families that are, they're not. There's a lot of people not working, and there's a lot of people that are, still afraid to get out. But we've got over 1,000 that come every week. We're close to 1,000. We've got, our kids program stayed open. We had a few weeks where we had to close, but we've had, all of our kids. We've had a lot of adults coming. So yeah, we've been real blessed with opportunity. For
Yeah.
us, it's all about opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and so I'm sure navigating through this season has probably presented a unique challenge or two, as for you as it has for all of us. This has just been a different kind of year. What's one of those challenges that's been unique for you guys navigating through the pandemic and the increase in needs? What's one or two challenges that you all have faced?
Well, the increase in need, we try to prepare for that, regardless. We just, we pray a lot. We depend on the Lord. And I'm happy to tell you that we have faithful partners. The opportunity to do the work is, it's in the Lord's design. So we've got churches that are coming alongside beside us, and we have managed to keep going. And I think, for me, communicating to you guys that we are strong, and that's important, because you want to be involved with strong ministries that are doing what God's called us to do, and
Definitely.
taking care of the poor, feeding the hungry, providing for their needs. We've got clothing, household items. We've got a resource now where everybody who comes in can get tissue paper. That's a big deal to the poor. Cleaning supplies, hygiene supplies, blankets, winter clothing, shoes. It's unreal, what all we're involved in. And of course, this time of the year, we're trying to help the families get ready for Christmas. So we've got about 170 kids that are sponsored for Christmas. And we're thankful that God's allowed us to be strong and to keep going. There were some nonprofits, that felt like they had to shut down. Even today, we've got several people that have tested positive for COVID, but our center is still functioning. We've got folks there that was not that wasn't around it, that's taking care of the center today. So we're happy. The obstacle now, the biggest one, is getting volunteers. There's a real shortage of folks that are able to come out and serve. A lot of our volunteers were older, so that group is the one who's scared. So we're trying to get more volunteers to come in. We're taking the precautions inside the center. We give everybody a mask. So we've got precautions set up, but hopefully we can get our routine back to normal someday. I don't know when.
Yeah,
It's real hard to set goals without knowing how we're going to navigate with COVID, hanging on to us.
right. Yeah, it makes so much. It makes everything unpredictable. There's no amount of preparation that any of us have had to figure out how to do ministry in a pandemic. There's books being written on it now, but there
They're
were
going to be
none
a little
beforehand.
late. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, well, you mentioned a shortage of volunteers. If somebody within the Grove or somebody sees this video is maybe looking for somewhere to plug in and volunteer, what's an opportunity or two, a specific opportunity or two that might be helpful to come in and jump in with you guys?
Tuesday and Thursday, we call it a community market, and we give away, those are the 2 mornings that we give away a lot of our resources. We also have Bible study groups. Everybody who comes in is invited to attend the Bible study group. So, those are our 2 busy mornings for the work with adults.
Hmm.
And we prepare for the giveaways. We have to do the preparation on Mondays and Wednesdays. So, any of those 4 mornings, would be a great time. And then we've got the after school program, which, we just found out yesterday. You probably have heard that the school has gone to virtual.
Right.
So our kids, we may not be able to see them for the rest of the program days in December because they're not going to be coming from the school.
Hmm.
So we're when school starts back in January, I think that's on the 5th. We're going to be back into normal routine with our kids, and there are 80 kids that come every day. So I mean, at 2:45, the center turns into, it's like almost like a zoo, and the cages were opened, and it's just pretty crazy in there. But we enjoy it, and we've got middle schoolers. We've got our middle schoolers and high schoolers. We have about 45 middle and high schoolers. So, we're real proud of the fact that the ministry it's maintaining a connection with the people.
Yeah.
That's important during this time. And there's not much fear in Western Heights. Until just a few days ago, we didn't have any known cases of COVID.
Hmm.
So we do now. I think there's about 3 cases in Western Heights. So our people are not afraid. The young people, especially, they're coming every day.
Hmm.
We've got to feed them every day. Another thing that we've been doing that volunteers could help with too is, since COVID began, there's a lot of people that just wander the streets,
Hmm.
and some of them are having conflict with the other nonprofits. I mean, there's some reasons why they wind up in Western Heights. Some of them that are just living near there, on the streets. But we we've been feeding lunch every day since COVID started. So if anybody walks into the center and they just want to eat, we provide lunch for them every day.
Hmm.
So that's another good opportunity, to have help with those meals. And we'll keep doing that until we feel like the need is not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just want to be ready for any need that a person has when they walk through the door. If it's a pair of shoes, a
Mhm.
coat, clothing, we've got diapers, everything. We just try to be, we try to be everything that we can. And in that process, we share the gospel with every person.
Mhm.
And, we think there's been a transformation. We deal with a lot of people who are maturing in the faith. It's a slow process for everybody, but we think that we're making some good headway.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I love your heart behind wanting to not just declare the gospel, but you all are demonstrating it. And I think a lot of times I think sometimes we focus on one or the other.
Yeah,
We either want to just demonstrate and do the good works, and then we're not intentional declaring, or vice versa. And so I love your heart for both, because I think that's how Jesus did it. I think he demonstrated it and he declared it. And so,
You know, that
it's-
passage in Matthew 25, we live by that because, you know, Jesus, you know, he said, I was hungry and you fed me.
mm,
And so every stranger that walks through the door, you know, every person that walks through the door, we look at them, you know, as that's God's design. That's God's, you know, person that we want to win them, you know, to the Christian faith. And
mhm,
so, you know, the only way to do that, I think the church has, you know, we've missed that opportunity many times because we were so focused on programs or, you know, we had church service. So we
mhm,
can't help a person right now because we've got a church service.
mhm,
But, you know, the way the Baptist Center is designed in partnership with the churches, I think we have, you know, we do have the right model, you know,
mhm,
to meet the need and to preach the gospel. So,
mhm,
you know, we're happy to be in partnership. And you know, unlike a lot of the other nonprofits in town, I mean, we're a true partnership with the church.
mhm,
You know, we function completely under the support of our churches and
mhm.
the Knox County Association of Baptists. You know, they're working hard to make sure we have the resources. Our DOM is doing a great job, Phil Young, so he helps us, you know, get those resources. But you know, we have to have a lot of money. We spend a lot of money. Just this week, my food bill was $4,200.
Wow.
So it's a lot of money that's coming and going, but
Mhm,
it's worth it. You know, we help all those kids. We spent about 9,000 on Christmas.
mhm,
So you know, it's coming. I mean, you know,
mhm,
we're just we're watching the provision of God, and the Grove has been a significant part of that through the years.
mhm.
I couldn't be happier to be in partnership with you guys.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's just awesome. God's amazing how He always just continues to provide, for you all, and I know as you've navigated through this year, I mean, the pandemic's been one thing, but there's been a lot of conversation this year as well, just around the whole idea of social justice or the lack thereof, and I know you serve in a diverse community where you encounter people from a lot of different backgrounds and experiences. And for a church like the Grove, that's we're out here in suburb Halls, North Knoxville area, we don't encounter some of the diversity as at least as much as what you get the opportunity to minister to there in Western Heights. What's something from your perspective that maybe a church like ours that's not in the same demographic as where you're serving? What's something you could say to us that would maybe encourage us, enlighten us, give us some perspective, just around this whole conversation of just what it looks like to hear from people who maybe they walk in different shoes than what we walk in. What's just a word you could kind of give to us?
You know, one of the realizations that I had to face when I came into the city, because I had grown up in the country and had never worked in the city, and 16 years ago when I came into the city, you know, I began to realize that every culture has has patterns that it operates by. And you know, one of the patterns that I found early on was the fact that a lot of the kids, they were repeating what their parents did. So we had Jackie Young, who works with me. He's been there 40 years, and he has literally worked with four generations. Like, we've got great grandmas that are, that are clients and customers, and then we're working with the great grandkids.
Mm,
So we realized back at that point that the best thing we could do is to focus on breaking that pattern that
mm,
causes a person to stay in poverty.
mhm,
And I mean, our emphasis on that started about 10 years ago. We increased our academic support, and we've got kids now. One of the kids that we worked with that grew up, he wound up in the custody of his mother after he had been removed. His grandmother passed away, and the mother was a drug addict, and he wound up back in her custody, living in Western Heights, and the family grew up hard. That guy has, I mean, with our support, we stuck with him. You know, we walked him through every crisis that he had. Even at one point, his mom threw him out of the house because he wouldn't give her money. He was working a part-time job, and we provided housing for him. And now he runs an Amazon fulfillment center in Memphis.
Wow.
You know, we've got kids who have bought, you know, kids that grew up in Western Heights that own new cars. One of the guys that I work with who is he works for Nissan in Murfreesboro. He's had his third new car. You know, and that's one of the kids that grew up. His dad was a drug dealer and fled from Chicago to Knoxville just to get, you know, basically to run from being killed. And his family relocated near the Baptist Center, and we got to work with all three of their boys, and two of the three are very successful. You know, we walked them all the way through college. We've got about 12 college grads. So we'll start when the kid's about 4. If they have a sibling in our program, we'll start at 4, and we'll walk with them all the way through college. I've got kids out of college that I still mentor. You know, we've got 2 kids that have worked on a master's degree. So, you know, breaking the cycle of poverty and establishing hope. You know, I spent about 3 hours with one kid this week who basically feels like he's trapped in some type of dysfunctional environment. And I told him, I said, look, you're not limited to this situation, you know, a bad home environment, you know, extreme poverty, no encouragement for a future, and no academic support. You know, he's had a rough way, and I've spent time with him to help him see, like, there's an option to change your path. And you know, we're doing it. I mean, we've got a lot of kids now. All of our middle schoolers and high schoolers are dreaming of going to college.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's awesome. I mean, you don't see that happening in inner city communities. You know, most of those kids actually don't get a chance to, you know, for whatever reason, they have trouble getting out of it, you know, for a lot of reasons, but no support at home, you know, even filling out the FAFSA. That's an extensive process to get a kid into college, you know, paying the small fees that are required. We pay all of the fees. You know, we're just jumping in there and helping that kid get through every hoop. So, you know, I'm really thankful for our staff. We've got a great, there's a lady that runs our youth and children's work, Allison Wilder. She's doing a great job. So we're really blessed.
Wow, that's power. Those stories, that's so powerful, and I think it's, you know, if you're removed from the context, you know, I hear people sometimes, it's, you know, we don't realize the generational tension.
It's like a curse.
But that's what it is. I mean, you nailed it. You've like that cycles has to get broken, and just to be able to lean in and speak hope and help them, those kids and teens, as they're coming through, to see that they can be the one, you know, they can be the one that breaks that pattern, and give them a vision that's greater than, you know, what they've experienced or thought of, and then them experience it and be able to do that. That's awesome. I hope those of you that watch this video, I hope you hear you know, what Shannon just said about just some of the real life change. I mean, it's changing generations when some of those things start happening, and they are able to break out of the poverty cycle that they grow up in and that their parents grew up in. I mean, that's changing generations to come. That's impact that we'll see, you know, that we won't even see the full ripple of how that changes lives.
You know, I didn't think when I was first aware of, what it would require. I was concerned that I might not see it, and it's crazy how now, I'm actually working with kids whose parents I worked with. I worked with I did a lot of work with young young men when I first came, and now I'm working with with the kids of that group. And so, yeah, we're seeing it, that's what it's exciting. Like, we do get to see the product. We've got kids that we worked with, that we gave the push and the support, home ownership, having good jobs. We've got one of the boys that we worked with who is stuck in a family, a drug, a lot of drug dealers, and he was just determined to have a better life. And, he never associated with any of the bad stuff because we were coaching him. And now he's got a great job at KUB. I mean, there's hundreds of these stories now, and it's exciting to get to share a little bit of that with you, and just to show you, because I think for you guys, if you're going to support us, you need to know, like, this is really making a difference, and I can show you the proof now.